What's going on, everybody? Bit of a different sort of video today. And I might just play some Ranbats in the background. I mean, while I record this, because this is more of a discussion video. I'll be talking about terrains, like the different terrains set by like Grassy Surge, Electric Surge, Psychic Surge, and Misty Surge. Talking about how those are basically going to be like the next weathers, I guess. I really cannot multitask, so we're gonna see how we go with this. If I keep getting distracted, then I'm not gonna do any Ranbats. But I like this team. Anyway, that did nothing. Oh god, what are we? Scarf? Okay, I'm gonna save this. Yeah, Ranbats, not Ranbats, terrains, I mean. Oh crap, that's not, oh no, he's probably, yeah. Ranbats are, I did it again, Jesus Christ. Terrains are basically going to be the new weathers, and I mean, this is kind of like 2 or 3 gens in the making. They weren't really utilized at all in Gen 6, I don't think, but then they became made usable in, I don't know if that's syntactically correct. You know what? No, I'm getting another calm mind. Yeah, get the hell out of here. We got so we got the Tapus in Gen 7. I don't like this lead. Oh great, a rain setter with no water types. And no electric immunity. So the core, some people didn't really use like dedicated terrain teams like they would with like rain or something, you know. Basically people would use like the core of Grassy Seed plus Unburden Holucha with one of the Tapus. Or not even necessarily Grassy Seed. Jesus Christ, is that defensive? Like, I'm not a fan. Wait, how fast is this? Yeah, we don't outrun it with that. I would just go a Shifu and get a kill, I think. So yeah, we got the Holucha. So basically the reason why Holucha was so good paired with any of the Tapus really, although I don't think you really saw it with Tapu Fini too much. Is that? Oh wow, that's a cool set. I'm just going to this, I think. The reason that Holucha works so well, I really don't think this multitask thing is working. This is probably gonna be my last. Oh, hold on. No, just Scald. And we get the burn, which is nice. Do I? No, I do not. I was gonna say do I Encore and then go into Blaziken, but I guess not. Nice crit. I actually will go Blaziken now that the rain's gone. Oh, okay. Now what, buddy? That boy just left. So, okay, back on topic. The Tapus basically set up the terrain. Holucha with the corresponding seed, depending on which Tapu you were using. You'd send it out while the terrain is active. The seed would be consumed and you get the plus defense or the plus special defense because of the seed. And because your item was used up, it activated Unburden, which means that you had double speed with your Holucha until you switched it out. And obviously that, now not having an item means that you can spam a fully powered acrobatics and stuff. And I mean, it only got close combat this generation, but high jump kick was no sneezing matter either. Or nothing to sneeze at, I should say. I don't think sneezing matter is a term. But yeah, Holucha itself was kind of weak, so you were kind of forced to run. I'm not getting another Ranbat, by the way. it happened exactly as I predicted. So yeah, Tapu's good partner for Holusha in terms of making Holusha a win con, in terms of letting it sweep because of Unburden. We're pretty much forced to run Sword Stance though, because like I think it only has like base 92 attack or something, which is pretty low. But yeah, that was in Gen 7 about as much as a dedicated terrain team that you would see. Sometimes you'd also see, I guess, like Tapu Koko paired with Alolan Raichu for that, because Alolan Raichu's Surge Surfer means that its speed is doubled in terrain, and that basically makes it the electric terrain equivalent of like Sand Rush, Slush Rush, Chlorophyll, and Swift Swim. And I was thinking, because you know how there's the terrain extender, which works for all terrains, as opposed to like in terms of it, like extending the terrain turns that you have it for, as opposed to how there's like a damp rock, a heat rock, a smooth rock, I think is the one for sand, and an icy rock. Is that the one for hail? I don't know. But there's like an individual item for each of the weathers as opposed to the thing. So I was like, oh, why don't they just make Surge Surfer like work for all the terrains? That way, like you could get like a grass Pokemon with Surge Surfer, and all of a sudden it's a beast in grassy terrain. But then it's like, oh, hold on, then it just becomes broken because you can use it in any terrain. You know? So that was that idea down the drain. But yeah, in terms of abilities that are affected by terrains, I think Surge Surfer is the only one. I'm pretty sure, but they can like use the innovation, I guess, that they've done with weathers, like the weather-based abilities. Like you can have a terrain thing that's like the equivalent of Sand Force, in that Sand Force, when there's a sandstorm activated, it increases the power of Rock, Steel, and Ground type moves. So maybe there could be like Grass Force, for example, that boosts the power of Grass type moves while grassy terrain is up. You know what? They should make that, and they should call it Flower Power. Just putting that out right there, right now. But yeah, other abilities affected by rain, I guess. Not rain, terrain. I forgot the T-E-R at the start. So yeah, other abilities affected by terrain, I guess, that could be similar to weather abilities, like ones that heal you while it's in terrain. Although, I mean, I guess grassy terrain does that naturally, but like, imagine like the stalling potential of a Pokemon with like the equivalent of Rain Dish, or what's the hail one? Ice Body? Is that what it's called? But like that plus grassy terrain, you just be, and give them leftovers on top of that, you just be healing so much. And especially if they're a grass type with access to Leech Seed. Well, I mean, they don't necessarily have to be a grass type, but if they get access to Leech Seed, then like they would just be so hard to break through, you know. So that's pretty cool in terms of like potentially putting like a spin, like a stall type of spin on one of the terrains, or particularly grassy terrain. But I mean, you can figure out a way to do that for any other thing. Like, I mean, Sandstorm boosts the special defense of all rock types, which is interesting. Yeah, then you get to moves that are affected by terrain. Already you had Nature Power, which became Thunderbolt in electric terrain. I think it became Energy Ball in grassy terrain. I want to say Moonblast in misty terrain, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And Psychic in psychic terrain. That was an interesting tech. I remember I actually forget what I said about there not being like people not really using fully terrain-based teams, because I remember, I'm pretty sure Envy used this back in Gen 7. There was a grassy terrain team, and it had like a Mega Camerupt that had Energy Ball to catch like I can't even remember what switched into Mega Camerupt. It's been too long since I played Gen 7. But yeah, Mega Camerupt with that sort of grass type coverage in Energy Ball / Nature Power was just a very cool tech. I don't think Nature Power has the best distribution, but But yeah, on top of that, there's also now Terrain Pulse, because like thanks to the Isle of Armor move tutors. Yeah, that it's basically the terrain equivalent of Weather Ball, in the sense that when using Weather Ball under a particular weather, it became either a water, fire, ice, or rock type move, and doubled in power from 50 to 100. So especially on sun and rain teams, it became very spammable because of the boost to fire and water type moves. And the cool thing about all the terrains is that, unlike with weather, how it's just sun and rain that boost the power of their respective types, all the terrains do that as long as you're grounded. So Terrain Pulse on something like Chloitza in lower tiers could be pretty cool. In fact, I have a cool tech that I'll be telling you guys about shortly, involving Terrain Pulse, which is pretty cool. As for other moves, of course, with the Isle of Armor moves, like the tutor moves, they what do you call it? The corresponding types for the terrains, grass, electric, psychic, and fairy, all of those respective move tutor moves from the DLC are all affected by terrain. Grassy Glide is, of course, it becomes priority in grassy terrain, and thanks to the grassy terrain boost, it's actually stronger than something like Extreme Speed, like marginally. I think I want to say it's 81 base power compared to Extreme Speed's 80, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Then Rising Voltage and Expanding Force are basically the exact same move, but one works in psychic terrain, one works in electric terrain, and basically they double in power while the terrain's up, in addition to the normal boost that you get from using a psychic or electric type move in their respective terrains. And then lastly, there's Misty Explosion, which is basically an explosion type move in that it kills the user when it uses it, and it doubles in power in misty terrain. That was definitely the worst one, but I mean, say when Tapu Fini comes back, say if Magiana wasn't banned, which it actually did get banned today or yesterday or something, I can't remember. Magiana could potentially, like, choice specs like a Misty Explosion in misty terrain is really gonna hurt. Like that should be stronger than Fleur Cannon, right? Which is pretty interesting. The only downside is you lose your Magiana. Yeah. So those are the moves that are already affected by terrains, but there's definitely not leeway, but potential, I guess, for other types of moves. Like, for example, you look at, because I'm making so many comparisons to weather, you look at how, like, what moves are affected by weather. You got Solar Beam, which only takes one turn to use in sunny weather. They could do something like that for terrain, which I don't think there is one like that for terrain. Thunder, Blizzard, and Hurricane all hit 100% accurate in their respective weathers, whereas they all have like 70% accuracy outside of it, so that could be an interesting tech that they could do in terms of making a weather move, terrain move, I mean. They could also actually go into the reverse of that, I guess, and make, say, the Sandstorm equivalent of Grassy Glide, in that when Sandstorm is activated, there's a rock type move that always goes first. So that's actually interesting for potentially like weather as well, if they choose to do draw inspiration from terrains instead of the other way around. As for like other abilities, I noticed that while exploring like the wild area in Pokemon Sword and Shield, sometimes the weather will be thunderstorm, and in game that means that rain and electric terrain is set up at the same time. So maybe they could have like thunderstorm be like an ability that's basically a combination of electric surge and drizzle, and sets up both of them. So that could be cool if you want to do like a potential hybrid electric terrain and rain team. Like I could see something like, I don't think they would, but I think something like Cantoni and Zapdos could really, like, it would just be it would work, like, in terms of the lore of the game. Like, Zapdos could definitely logically get an ability like that proposed Thunderstorm thing. And that's cool because it actually also, when it comes back, it's going to get Hurricane, and it already gets Thunder, so it can spam 100% accurate Thunder, boosted by Electric Terrain. Actually, it might not because it's a flying type, but also 100% accurate Hurricanes. Does it get Volt Switch? It does, right? It's been too long since I played Gen 7, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Volt Switch into like another electric type, that, like a grounded electric type that can spam Thunder that is 100% accurate thanks to the rain and boosted by the Electric Terrain. Although, I guess there might not really be much point of that in terms of Rising Voltage potentially out-damaging it, which I think it does. Yeah, just an interesting idea, I guess. I mean, Rising Voltage has pretty limited distribution, doesn't it? So, maybe something that doesn't get that could use Thunder instead. But yeah, like hybrid sort of setting abilities like that could be pretty cool. I don't know, I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head, but because I mean, all the terrains have pretty unique effects, right? Like grassy terrain heals you, misty terrain prevents all status conditions, electric terrain prevents sleep in particular, psychic terrain prevents bloody priority moves. So like maybe something that gives like an ability that gives like an extra effect, I guess. Like another example that I haven't mentioned is how the weather abilities have like Sand Veil and damn it, I can't remember the ice one either for this. The evasion increasing, Snow Cloak, is that what it is? The one that increases evasion while it's hailing, or I guess Sandstorm for Sand Veil, but yeah, they could do something like that for terrain. I don't see it getting a lot of usage. Also, something like an equivalent of like solar power could be pretty cool. Or I already mentioned Sand Force, I think. And I definitely mentioned Rain Dish. I think those are the only notable sort of weather-based abilities that could potentially get terrain equivalents. But yeah. But yeah, in terms of like actually running fully dedicated terrain teams, it's just interesting to think about, I think, because like you see Ferrothorn on like 90% of serious rain teams because it's like such a good check to grass types, and it appreciates its fire type weakness being lowered by the rain. So on like a dedicated electric terrain team, this is what I was talking about before, by the way, because I've attempted to make a dedicated electric terrain team myself, and on that team I have Palisand, which I'm pretty excited to use, because I noticed the team was pretty weak to Excadrill, so I wanted a Pokemon that could switch into that, and Palisand can do that pretty comfortably. And say the opponent has a Mandibuzz that they want to go into, if the electric terrain is up, then I can go for Terrain Pulse, because Palisand gets Terrain Pulse, and just fry it with 100 base power electric type move when they may expect me to go for like Stealth Rock or Toxic or even like Scorching Sands or Shadow Ball or something, because Mandibuzz naturally walls Palisand. So yeah, just running Terrain Pulse on an electric terrain based team is an interesting tech that I'm excited to use. Although I'm not too worried about Mandibuzz in general, just because it's a flying type and like the other electric types that I have on the team will just toast it. But the fact that if the opponent is looking at my team, they have a Mandibuzz and they see my team, they're gonna think, okay, Mandibuzz's only role in this game is to check Palisand, because normally it should be like, normally Palisand only runs like Stealth Rock, Scorching Sands, Shadow Ball, Toxic, or Shore Up over one of those moves. So they're going to think, oh, we completely wall this. They switch in, and they got to take... I haven't run any calcs, by the way, so I have no idea how much it will do. But hopefully more than 50, so I can't roost it off. But yeah, that's what I'm like one of the things that I'm hoping to accomplish with that team when I record with it. Maybe tomorrow, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I guess I'll... Like, Palisand I think could see a lot of, maybe a bit of usage, not a lot, on like fully dedicated electric terrain teams as the generations go on and as they increase more support for those types of teams in terms of like the abilities and moves that I was spitballing earlier. And actually I'm gonna upload my electric terrain team that I was talking about to Pokemon Showdown right now, I think. So yeah, I'll just go over that pretty quick. I mean, I always go over my my teams at the start of the videos anyway, so when I eventually record with this, I'll go over that. So, and I think this will be like the last sort of segment of this video, so don't worry too much about watching this part, I guess, if you're gonna watch the video I record it with. What am I calling this team? I don't know, I'm not really building around a specific Pokemon with this. Well, I mean I am, because Pincurchin's kind of necessary, but I'm not building around Pincurchin so much as I am around electric terrain, if that makes sense. Okay. Pincurchin. I guess we've got to run a terrain extender, right? Definitely Electric Surge over Lightning Rod. I think I was gonna run like Dual Hazards. There's a pretty standard monotype set on Smogon for, pardon me, Pincurchin. It was a bit outdated because it doesn't have what's it called, Rising Voltage on it, so I'm gonna do that over Discharge, which is what it has there. Why is Rising Voltage not in the useful moves section? And the last move it says comes down between Thunderwave and Memento. I think I like Thunderwave a bit better just because I want to keep Pincurchin around to set terrain repeatedly with what do you call it? Like throughout the battle, and obviously if it uses Memento it can't do that because it's dead. We'll just go bold. Yeah. So yeah, just physically defensive, I guess, because that's his best defensive stat. It does have a decent 101 base attack, but I mean, a terrain boosted Rising Voltage is gonna hurt more than like Zing Zap or whatever physical electric type it gets. Could also run. Does it get Scald? It does get Scald, but I think I'm okay with the moves that I have. Mentioned before, Alolan Raichu with the Surge Surfer ability, so I'm definitely going to do that as my speed control. With this, I actually don't know what set I want to run. I definitely want to run, like, I know what moves I want to run. I mean, some of them. I'll come back to item later. That is its only ability. I just was curious about if it had another one. Rising Voltage is necessary. I think we have to run Psyshock over Psychic to nail Blissey and Chansey. Where's the piece? Let me look at the rest of my team real quick. I think we should be okay versus... Wait, what does... Let me see the tier real quick. I want to see what Focus Blast actually hits. Psyshock and Psychic hit these two harder. Rising Voltage, Psyshock. Rising voltage, ready. I'm not gonna keep saying boom, boom. Does this outspeed in terrain? It should, right? Because Raichu's base 110. So yeah, we can just Psyshock that. Obviously it doesn't care about thing. I want to run Surf to hit this instead of, I mean, this would be the big one in terms of Focus Blast. Surf hits that as well. Focus Blast is kind of nice for Hydreigon as well, I guess. But I mean, I don't know why you'd switch your Hydreigon into a Raichu, I guess, unless you thought I was Specs and locked myself into Psyshock. I guess that kind of makes sense. But I mean, half these Pokemon are going to get toasted by Rising Voltage anyway. I might run some calcs later and change some things before I record. Because I'm considering, I definitely want Surf, right? We'll put Surf on there right now. I'm just like tossing up between Focus Blast and Nasty Plot, and I think I like Nasty Plot a bit better, just because if I predict them to switch into like their Ferrothorn or something, or Hydreigon even, I can go for Nasty Plot instead of having to risk missing a Focus Blast and then just dent them with Rising Voltage. So I think that's what I want to do. Definitely max Timid Nature. I think I can afford. Wait, can I afford to run Modest? Let's see what they have on Smogon. If I run Modest, what speed do we hit? Where am I? Okay, 319. What's that times 2? 6. Okay, so it's already definitely faster than like Dragapult, unless that's Scarf, I guess. Wait, is Scarf Dragapult faster than this? I think we can afford to run Modest. I'll check all the math out later. For now, I just want to get the team on Showdown. Right, then I mentioned before the Terrain Setup plus Hawlucha core. So Hawlucha is the next Pokemon for the team. There is a Grassy Seed set here, but obviously we're not running Grassy Terrain, so I'll go with an Electric Seed. Unburden is the item to go with. Pardon me. Okay, so we need Sword Stance on this thing, because it's honestly pretty weak without a Sword Stance. Acrobatics, because once we send it out in terrain, this will become full powered. Close combat as a fighting type stab, and it says the last move is a toss up between Taunt and Roost, and I think I like Taunt a bit better, just so we can get it in on a more passive Pokemon and then taunt them and then either set up a Sword Stance or do some damage to something coming in. So we'll do that. And we run Adamant on that because same reason as Raichu, because after the speed boost we become like super fast anyway. Then, as I mentioned before, we have Palisand. Very excited to use this. It should be able to take hits from an Excadrill pretty easily, like it's 85, 110 bulk, isn't it? Yeah, those are good defensive stats. And base 100 special attack, even uninvested, is not really anything to sneeze at. So yeah, I guess I'll just run like a standard leftovers set. Definitely prefer Water Compaction to Sandveil. Man, I'm so salty that they didn't make this count as an immunity to water, or even a resist, because it just dies to a water type move, and it's not able to get the defense raise. Like, this thing is not going to be able to take like that thing will just have a bad matchup versus Rain, for example, because they're all just going to be spamming their, like, the King just going to be spamming Choice Specs, Hydro Pump. Hell, I don't even think this is going to take a Rain boosted Scald from a defensive Pelipper, so it definitely should have been an immunity just to be able to counter team Rain type builds, I guess. On this is the Stealth Rocker of the team. Where is Stealth Rock? We also got Scorching Sands as the ground type equivalent of Scald, so we can fish for burns with that. Very nice for, I guess, Pincurchin if we burn something and we have to set the terrain back up. So that'll take less damage. The other, yes, of course, how could I forget the tech that I was talking about? We have Terrain Pulse. Very excited for that. And last but not least, we have Shore Up, which is, I don't know why it's not in the usually useless moves. Like, I get only this Pokemon gets it, but it's literally the best healing move in the game for this reason. Because if you use it in a sandstorm, you get so much health back. So we want to run physically defensive so we can check Excadrill a bit better. I'll run Bold so we lower our useless physical attack, sorry, and increase our defense further. Excited to run some calcs on this later. I might end up running a bit more special attack just so we can dent Mandibuzz in case Mandibuzz doesn't take too much from a Terrain Pulse. Then at this point I was looking at our team and I figured we were pretty weak to Dragapult, so speaking of Mandibuzz, that's exactly what we're going to put on the team. Whoops, that's not the letter. So I guess I'll just run the standard set on that. It doesn't really get anything to take advantage of the electric terrain itself. It's more of a glue Pokemon that just appreciates. Do we need heavy duty boots on this? Because this isn't the hazard control. I don't want to use, like, because I was looking at this team and I was like, oh, hold on, Defog. Well, I mean, we're running 3 types of hazards with Spikes and Toxic Spikes and Pincurchin and Stealth Rock on Palisand, and I'm like, okay, so I don't want to run Defog if I can help it, because it'll get rid of all those hazards we set up. Plus it also actually gets rid of terrains this generation, so running a team based around a terrain, Defog is not exactly the most ideal move, so I'm just considering not running heavy duty boots and running leftovers instead, because, I mean, this way we get to not tell them that we're Defog. If we're running leftovers, I feel like that kind of makes it a bit more obvious. Overcoat is his best ability, and we're going with, what are we doing? Foul Play, Roost, both of which are necessary, and I'm thinking Toxic, because this team doesn't deal entirely well with, I mean, would you switch a Hippowdon into this? I don't think that's a switch in, is it? I'm kind of tossing up between these two. I'll run Toxic for now, but when testing, or even when recording if I don't get around to testing, I might switch to U-Turn. And as the last move I want Knockoff, just because it's a nice utility. Yeah. Then I want to run the set. The standard set says 248 HP, 200 defense, 44 Spadef, whoops, and 16 speed. So yeah, that's Mandibuzz. And then I was really struggling to think of, so what I wanted was a hazard remover that had rapid spin and also beat stuff like Hippowdon, because we're pretty weak to Hippowdon, I guess. I mean, Raichu with the +2 surf is gonna I feel like, I don't know, Merc is kind of like a very American thing to say, and I'm not American, like, so as the last, what am I doing looking at OU? We're not looking for OU Pokemon. Think of rapid spinners that beat Hippowdon, and you go to UU, I believe. And we got Serena. And for Serena, I've never used this Pokemon, so I have no idea what it does. But it's a it looks like it's a good offensive rapid spinner, which is nice. And I was really tempted to run Starmie on this because it beats Toxapex, but then again, literally everything on our team beats Toxapex basically, except for Mandibuzz and Hawlucha, I guess. But yeah, so I figured Serena would probably be, I guess, a bit better in that regard. I guess maybe in terms of like letting in everything else on Toxapex if it switches into this. So we got heavy duty boots on this. Queenly Majesty, what is that? Oh, that's cool. So basically when this thing's out, it's like Psychic Terrain's active as well. Except it doesn't boost Psychic type moves, which is fine because we're not running any on this. Power Whip is how we beat Hippowdon. Rapid Spin is necessary because that's the whole reason why it's on the team. So where's Rapid Spin? I think I like Knockoff as well, especially if like we run into like Hippowdon with Rocky Helmet. Is that a set? Or do they run leftovers? I don't know. And something that's caught my eye, because I think this Serena set that I'm looking at is a bit outdated. We could run U-turn, or we could run high jump kick, or we could also run triple axle. I have no idea what it hits. Let me look at the tier real quick. Ooh, Amoonguss. Getting to triple axle and Amoonguss would be very nice because that's definitely switching into Serena. Dragapult could as well, expecting like a rapid spin. Hawlucha, I guess, could be kind of scary switching into this. Mandibuzz is probably a switch in. Although I guess, pardon me, maybe U-turn's better for like Slowbro, Tangrowth even. But I mean, because if we run triple axle to hit this, we're gonna lose like half our health from Rocky Helmet if we hit all 3 hits. So I'm thinking U-turn might be a bit better. But I'm very tempted to run Thing. I think I do like U-turn a bit better. We'll go with it. If I keep getting like bloody Amoonguss is switching in though, I might just go for Thing. Like change it to triple axle. For defense and adamant. Do like a good adamant nature. So yeah, that's the team. Hopefully I'll record tomorrow if I can be bothered. But yeah, let me just make sure this is valid. We don't have an item on Raichu. What do they normally run on Raichu? Life Orb. That sounds fun. Let me just make sure we have everything, like haven't forgotten any EVs or any items or moves. Looks all good. Alright, so that's the team. I guess I'll catch you guys next time. Yeah, hope I kind of but yeah, Mandibuzz is another one of those Pokemon that I was talking about with regards to like I feel that sort of Ferrothorn role for rain teams. Like maybe Mandibuzz could be good for checking Dragapult, like having a switch into just problematic Pokemon, I guess, for the team. Similarly to how Ferrothorn can for rain teams. You don't really see that many dedicated sand teams or anything, but yeah. Hope you all enjoyed. See you when I record with this. I might even have a playthrough of like, what do you call it, Fire Emblem or Pokemon Black Randomizer Nuzlocke. Who knows? Whatever tickles my fancy at the time if I decide to record will be what comes next. But this team is coming at some point. Best believe it. See you all next time.